Snow in the Denver metro on the last day of December. It wasn't much, but it was the only measurable snow for the entire month, leaving December with its fourth least snowy December on record. November was highlighted by chatter coming from the Colorado high country about massive and frequent snowstorms. Most early season snow at Loveland in their 81-year history. Most early season terrain opened at Crested Butte. Second earliest opening of Blue Sky Basin in Vail. Earliest opening of the Imperial Superchair at Breckenridge were just a few of the headlines coming from an incredible snowy start in the mountains. For the second year in a row, a powerful October snowstorm graced the Denver area with early snow, triggering thoughts of a possible snowy season ahead. But that 2.7 inches on October 14th stands as Denver's biggest snowstorm of the season as we close 2018. September brought heat records on the 13th and 14th, while lingering drought brought a slightly early start to the fall colors and an early peak. But the Colorado Gold was just as stunning as ever. August is a month of transition in Colorado. Severe weather lingers. Hail accumulates like snow on the streets and stones can be big. The Cheyenne Mountain Zoo in Colorado Springs got hit with hail bigger than baseballs. Colorado usually sees its first snow in the mountains, and this August was no exception. July brings the southwest monsoon, and in Colorado that means heavy rain, wind, and tornadoes. Brush got hit with 2 damaging tornadoes on July 27th. There were even a few in the high country this year. On the first day of June, the 416 fire ignited in southwest Colorado. It was just the first of many wildfires that would burn the second most ground in Colorado history. May is the traditional start of severe weather season in Colorado, and supercell thunderstorms were spotted marching across the plains once again this year. Colorado weather will produce 50 tornadoes a year on average. 2018 would only sprout 25 of them, and 15 of those hit on the same day, Memorial Day. In April, the southwest Colorado drought was first elevated to the exceptional level, a standing that would hold all the way into 2019. Sort of contradictory to that, a classic Colorado prairie blizzard struck the eastern plains on April 13th, stranding the 9 News storm chaser, me, in Akron for 2 days. March is typically the snowiest month of the year on the Colorado Front Range, but 2018 left Denver with just 4.8 inches, 5th lowest all time. January and February were just as unimpressive snow-wise. Denver finished the snow season with the 5th lowest total in history, just 25.7 inches of snow. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen, 9 News.